Laura's Ireland trip could lead to major issues in her marriage. Let us start with someone who has been carrying the weight of the city on her shoulders for longer than anyone should have to. She is one of Port Charles's most beloved, most resilient, most endlessly tested women, and after everything she has been through lately, including finally breaking free from a blackmail situation that had her trapped in a corner she never should have been put in, she deserves a rest. She deserves more than a rest, honestly. She deserves a long, uninterrupted stretch of peace where nobody needs anything from her and nothing is on fire. But Port Charles does not do peace. Not for long. And the break she is about to take may turn out to be the beginning of the next storm rather than the calm she is desperately seeking. She has decided to fly to Ireland. Her husband and a little one she loves very much have been there, living a quieter life across the ocean while she has stayed behind managing a city that seems determined to fall apart at the seams every other week. She is missing them. She is tired. She wants a few days of family, of laughter, of someone pouring her a cup of tea and not asking her to solve anything. She wants to walk into the arms of the man she loves and just breathe for a moment. But the summer preview spoilers are not kind here. What is waiting for her in Ireland? What she may walk into when she arrives, possibly without warning, possibly as a surprise, has the potential to crack something in her life that she has always believed was solid. The hints being dropped suggest there may be another woman in the picture, that the quiet life abroad, the distance from everything they have both known, the time spent apart, it may have created space that something else moved into. Now, let us be honest with each other. This is speculation based on the clues the show is laying down, and it may not unfold exactly this way. But the spoilers are clear that her Ireland trip brings bad news. That there are unexpected obstacles waiting for her. That her marriage is going to undergo some kind of serious test. And that what happens there is going to create ripple effects back in Port Charles, the city she leads, where a personal scandal has a way of becoming a public one very quickly. If the worst of what we are speculating turns out to be true, if she arrives and discovers that the man she trusted has been keeping something from her, building something with someone else while she has been back home fighting every battle alone, the heartbreak of that is going to be immense. Because she is not a woman who has had an easy road to love. She has earned every good thing in her personal life through enormous loss and enormous patience. And the idea of that being taken from her now, when she was simply trying to catch her breath, is genuinely painful to sit with. But she is also not a woman who stays down. Whatever she finds in Ireland, whatever comes back with her when she returns, she is going to face it the way she faces everything, with grace and strength and a quiet fire that does not go out. And Port Charles is going to need all of that because the spoilers suggest that what happens on that trip does not stay in Ireland. It comes home with her and makes everything more complicated. And if her marriage does begin to unravel, if that door opens, there are people in this city who have noticed her, who care about her, who might step into that space in ways that create a whole new chapter in her story. Whether that is something to look forward to, or simply more evidence that Port Charles will not let anyone be happy for too long, that remains to be seen. Either way, her Ireland trip is must-watch television. And the woman who comes home from it may not be quite the same woman who got on the plane. Cullum orders Cassius to kill Sidwell. Anna pushes Nathan twin theory. Now let us come fully home to Port Charles, because the week is kicking off with a Monday that is absolutely packed with drama, and there is not a single moment of it that you're going to want to miss. Let us start with the order that came down from the top of the villain food chain because it is both alarming and deeply telling about how desperate things have become for the man issuing it. The dangerous man running the operation that has been terrorizing the city has apparently gotten wind of a location, a property that investigators believe might be connected to another criminal they are hunting. He has decided to use this information for his own purposes, not to catch that criminal, but to eliminate him. He has given an order to the man living under a stolen identity to be at that location and make sure the other criminal does not walk out alive. Think about what that means for a moment. He is not fighting his enemies with any of his own resources anymore. He is using a compromised, conflicted man who is already barely holding his false identity together, a man who has been showing signs of conscience, of doubt, of wanting out, as his instrument of murder. He is betting that this man will follow through. That the fear of what happens if he does not comply is greater than the moral weight of what he is being asked to do. Whether that bet pays off is one of the most interesting questions hanging over this storyline right now. Because the man being ordered to do this killing is not someone who arrived on this canvas as a pure villain. He has been complicated. He has shown love for a child that feels genuinely real, even knowing that every moment of that relationship is built on a lie. He has had moments where you could see him wrestling with himself, aware of the damage he is causing and unable to fully suppress the discomfort of it. Being told to walk into a building and make sure another man does not walk out, that is a different kind of line. And how he responds to that order is going to tell us a great deal about who he actually is underneath everything he has been pretending to be. Meanwhile, across an ocean, a woman who has been fighting for her own freedom with everything, she has finally got a private moment with someone she trusts, and she used it to deliver information that she has been desperate to share for months. She told her friend the truth. That the man everyone in Port Charles believes is a beloved, trustworthy presence is not who he says he is. That there is a twin, a brother that almost nobody knew existed, and that this twin has stepped into his sibling's life and has been living it, playing the role, fooling everyone including the people who loved the real man most. She is right.
We know she is right.
Anyone watching this show knows she is telling the absolute truth. The problem is that she is not exactly in a position where people are inclined to believe her. She has been in a medical facility. Her grip on reality has been called into question repeatedly by people with official authority. Everything she says gets filtered through the lens of, is this real, or is this the paranoia talking? Her friend listened. Really listened. And while she may not have been fully convinced in the moment, something Anna said landed. Because there have always been things about this man that did not quite add up, small inconsistencies, moments where something felt slightly off, details that did not match the person everyone thought they knew. Her friend is now going to have to sit with all of that and decide whether to look closer. Anna also asked her to think about a child. A small boy who calls this imposter his father, who loves him completely and trusts him completely, who has no idea that the man in his life is not who he claims to be. That is the argument that is hardest to dismiss. That is the one that cuts through the question of whether Anna is credible and goes straight to, but what if she is right? What does it mean for that child if she is right and nobody does anything? Back in Port Charles itself, there are conversations happening about a young man who already knows more than the adults around him realize. He found out the truth about what happened on a pier, who fired a shot, who got hurt, who stepped forward to take the blame for something he did not do, and where that person is now. He has been sitting with that knowledge, trying to figure out what to do with it, desperate to find a way to help. The adults in his life are trying to keep him in the dark about certain things, believing that protecting him from information is the same as protecting him from danger. But he is not in the dark. He has been piecing things together, and the picture he has assembled is more complete than anyone around him understands. And what he wants more than anything right now is a way to use what he knows to help someone he loves who is sitting in a place he cannot reach. He, and the girl he has grown close to, the one he recently helped protect from a kidnapping attempt, are still processing everything that happened. She has her own theory about why she was suddenly targeted, and it connects directly to what her father is doing right now far from home. If she is right, it means the people trying to use her as leverage are already reacting to something they did not see coming, which means the plan her father put in motion may already be working. The dominoes in this storyline are falling fast. And by the time this week is done, Port Charles is going to look very different than it does right now. Is Dante's career at risk? Missing evidence that could expose his hidden crime. And now let us close with a story that is the quietest of the three in terms of explosive action, but the most emotionally complex, because it is about a good man, a genuinely good man, who made a choice that he absolutely should not have made. And now he has to live with what comes next. He stepped into a role that was not originally his. When the woman who had been leading the police department needed to step away, he took over. He did the job. He kept things running. He has been doing it under enormous personal strain, managing professional responsibilities while watching his family be pulled through one dangerous situation after another, trying to hold himself together when anyone watching could see the seams starting to show. And underneath all of that, he has been carrying something. A decision he made in a moment of fatherly desperation. A decision to make evidence disappear. Evidence connected to a shooting. Evidence that, if it had been processed and followed to its conclusion, would have placed his own son at the center of a criminal investigation. He did not destroy it out of malice. He did not do it for personal gain. He did it because he is a father, and his child was in danger of a kind that no parent can stand to watch unfold. He told the man who should have been most interested in that evidence that it was probably just misfiled, that it would turn up eventually. He made a bureaucratic accident out of something deliberate, and he has been hoping, the way people hope when they have done something they cannot undo, that the moment of reckoning would simply never arrive. But it is arriving. The investigation that was always going to circle back around is circling back around. Questions are being asked about that missing evidence. The absence of it is starting to be noticed in ways that cannot be explained away by warehouse mix-ups or administrative errors. And when the full investigation into the man at the center of all of this finally blows open, and it is going to, the villain's downfall is already in motion, every related thread is going to be pulled, including this one. His son is going to have to answer for what happened on that pier. That is simply the reality of the situation, and no amount of protective maneuvering has changed it. What his son did, he did out of love, trying to protect someone who mattered to him, putting himself in the line of fire without fully thinking through the consequences. He was a teenager acting on instinct and love. That context matters. It will be part of how this story concludes. But the father who covered it up is not a teenager. He is a law enforcement officer. He knew exactly what he was doing when he made that evidence disappear. And the law that he has spent his career upholding does not make exceptions for fathers, no matter how understandable the impulse was. His badge is in jeopardy. His career, the thing he has built his adult identity around, the role that has defined him in this city for years, could be at risk. And the worst part of it is that he knew, somewhere underneath everything, that this day was coming. You do not make a decision like that without knowing, on some level, that it follows you. Here is the one thing offering any comfort in all of this. The villain whose shooting started this entire chain of events is on the verge of his own complete unraveling. The crimes he has committed, the corruption he has operated within, the harm he has caused across this entire story, all of it is coming to light. And when a jury or a court or public opinion sits down and looks at the full picture, the man who destroyed evidence to protect his son from a monster is going to look very different than he would in isolation. Context is not an excuse, but it is not nothing either. He is going to face consequences. But Port Charles has a way of remembering who people really are at their core. And at his core, this is someone who has spent his life trying to do right by this community. That counts for something.
It has to count for something.
The relief that is coming when his predecessor returns to reclaim her role, when he can finally step back from the impossible pressure of that position, will be real, and it will be visible. But the relief is going to be complicated, because stepping back from the job does not erase what he did while he was in it. And the reckoning for that is not finished yet.